First ever Mexican heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh, look at this chubby kid, man. He's going to get tired really fast. He's going to get knocked out.
Trouble early on.
Anthony Joshua was just trying to get that win.
Ruiz is the shit. He is the shit. He's what America needs right now with all this border wall crisis shit. A heavyweight champion that's Mexican.
Yeah.
Come on.
Working with him. Would you let him off the leash and let him take the shot now, or is it too soon and better to...
The drama surrounding the heavyweight division has always moved faster than logic, faster than plans, faster than patience. One night can turn an unknown into a king, and one mistake can turn a champion into a cautionary tale. That is the unforgiving truth of boxing's most dangerous weight class. And right now, the division feels like it's standing at the edge of something volatile, something inevitable. Because on one side of this looming collision stands youth, speed, mystery, and frightening potential. And on the other stands experience, redemption, and a man who has already shocked the world once and knows exactly how it feels to rip the crown off a giant. Moses Atama is only 20 years old, but his presence in the heavyweight landscape already feels disruptive. 13 fights, 13 wins, 11 knockouts. Numbers like that don't whisper potential. They scream urgency. They force conversations before promoters, trainers, and fans feel ready to have them. In a sport where heavyweights are usually told to wait, to mature, to grow into their power, Itauma has arrived with the confidence of someone who refuses to slow down for tradition. Every time he steps into the ring, he reveals another layer, another wrinkle, another reason why people are starting to speak his name with a kind of caution normally reserved for future champions. There's a calm menace to the way Itauma operates. He doesn't rush. He doesn't swing wildly. He doesn't fight like someone desperate to prove himself. Instead, he moves with a smoothness that feels almost wrong for a heavyweight, like a middleweight trapped in a giant's body. The jabs are measured. The feints are deliberate. And when he finally commits to power, it arrives suddenly, violently, and with an accuracy that leaves opponents scrambling to understand what just happened. In 2025 alone, he needed less than 5 minutes combined to finish 2 high-ranked opponents, and each finish felt like a warning shot to the entire division. Naturally, the hype machine has kicked into overdrive. Some are already talking about skipping steps, about throwing him straight into the deep end. There are whispers of Alexander Usyk, of titles, of destiny arriving early. But even as excitement grows louder, there are voices of caution echoing from those who have seen this movie before. British boxing legends, men who understand how quickly promise can turn into pressure, have urged restraint. Too soon, they say. Let him build. Let him learn. Let him stay busy, sharpen his tools, and grow into the monster everyone believes he can become. And that's where the story takes its most interesting turn. Because if Itauma needs a test, if he needs a name that brings danger without immediately throwing him into the fire of championship chaos, there is no better candidate than a man who knows exactly what it means to upset the natural order of heavyweight boxing. A man who once walked into Madison Square Garden as a late replacement, overweight, underestimated, and dismissed, only to walk out as the first Mexican-born heavyweight champion of the world. Andy the Destroyer Ruiz Jr. June 2019 changed everything. Ruiz didn't just beat Anthony Joshua. He shattered the image of invincibility that surrounded him. The world looked at Ruiz and laughed. They saw a chubby kid who didn't fit the sculpted mold of a modern heavyweight. They assumed cardio issues, discipline problems, and an easy night for the champion. What they didn't see was the speed, the timing, the absurdly fast hands that turned Joshua's confidence into panic within minutes. Ruiz fought with a hunger that night, a kill or be killed mentality that overwhelmed a champion who wasn't prepared for real resistance. That victory wasn't just an upset. It was a cultural moment. Fans who had never seen themselves reflected in heavyweight champions suddenly had a hero. Ruiz became proof that boxing wasn't just about aesthetics, that skill and heart could still flip the script. But the sport is cruel, and 6 months later, everything unraveled. In the rematch, Ruiz came in heavier, less focused, and mentally unprepared for a disciplined Joshua who fought on his terms. The loss was decisive, and worse, it opened the door to doubt. Long layoffs followed. hand injuries, inactivity, questions about motivation and discipline began to overshadow his undeniable talent. By the time Ruiz returned against Chris Arreola, no one quite knew what version of the Destroyer would show up. What they got was a fight that told the truth. Ruiz was still dangerous, still sharp in bursts, still capable of trading bombs in close quarters. But he was also vulnerable, rusty, and forced to dig deep in moments where the old version might have simply overwhelmed his opponent. Arreola dropped him, hurt him, tested his resolve, and Ruiz responded the only way he knows how, by standing his ground and fighting fire with fire. That fight wasn't pretty, but it was revealing. Ruiz showed that even after layoffs and setbacks, his instincts remained lethal. The fast combinations, the right hand, the left hook, the ability to turn exchanges into chaos were still there. He took damage, adjusted, found rhythm, and ultimately won by unanimous decision. It was a comeback, not a coronation. A reminder that the Destroyer was still alive, still capable, but no longer invincible. Now, place that version of Andy Ruiz across the ring from Moses Atama, and the intrigue becomes impossible to ignore. Because this isn't just youth versus experience. This is a collision between eras, styles, and philosophies. Itauma represents the new generation of heavyweights, faster, more fluid, less predictable. Ruiz represents survival, adaptation, and the kind of grit that only comes from being counted out and clawing your way back. We've already seen flashes of what makes Itauma special. Against Mike Balogun, he didn't rush the finish. He tested the waters with jabs, studied reactions, and waited for openings like a seasoned veteran. When the moment came, the shots were precise and devastating. Balogun was brave, even got up from heavy knockdowns, but the gap in speed, accuracy, and timing was overwhelming. Itauma spent barely any time in the ring, yet left a lasting impression. He looked composed, relaxed, almost bored, like this was just another step toward something bigger. That's the mystery with Itauma. He hasn't been pushed yet. He hasn't had to fight through deep waters. His knockout ratio is terrifying, but questions remain about his endurance, his chin, and his ability to adapt when Plan A fails. Those are questions that only a fighter like Ruiz can help answer. Ruiz thrives in chaos. He invites exchanges. He dares opponents to stand with him and trade. And while that style has cost him in the past, it's also what made him champion. The stylistic contrast is fascinating. Itauma's speed and southpaw movement could trouble Ruiz early, forcing him to reset and chase angles he's not comfortable with. But Ruiz's experience inside the pocket, his ability to slip and counter in close range, could punish any moment of hesitation from the younger man. If Itauma can control distance, pick shots, and avoid prolonged exchanges, he could announce himself as the future. But if Ruiz drags him into a dogfight, forces him to taste adversity for the first time, the narrative could change instantly. This is why this matchup feels inevitable, even if it hasn't been officially signed yet. Boxing thrives on moments like this, where questions outnumber answers and outcomes feel genuinely uncertain. Itauma doesn't need a title shot yet. He needs a proving ground. Ruiz needs relevance, a reminder to the world that he's still a factor in a division that moves on quickly. Together, they create a story that writes itself. Beyond the technical breakdowns and promotional angles, there's something deeper at play here. This fight represents a passing of the torch, or a refusal to let go of it. Itauma carries the hunger of a fighter who hasn't tasted defeat, who believes the world is opening up in front of him. Ruiz carries the scars of someone who has climbed the mountain, fallen off, and is still willing to climb again. That kind of collision doesn't just produce highlights, it produces truth. If Itauma wins, convincingly, the heavyweight division will have no choice but to fast-track him into elite conversations. The hype won't just be justified, it will be undeniable. If Ruiz wins, or even pushes Itauma to the brink, it will serve as a brutal reminder that potential means nothing without experience, and that the old guard doesn't disappear quietly. Either way, the division shifts. That's what makes boxing beautiful and cruel at the same time. There are no guarantees, no safety nets, Just two men, their stories, and the consequences of sharing a ring. Nigeria versus Mexico. Youth versus redemption. Mystery versus survival. A clash of monsters that feels destined to happen. Now, it's over to you. Who do you think wins this fight if it happens? Does Moses Atama's speed and power overwhelm Andy Ruiz? Or does the destroyer drag him into deep waters and expose what we haven't seen yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video to keep the heavyweight conversation alive. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more high-quality boxing stories just like this.